Now it's time for me to share with you whatever is in my little mind today. Um, this is kind of a personal Devar Torah today, but I think you might all relate to it. Um, you know, I think it's providence that the Torah reading for this week is Shoftim, which refers to judges. Uh, as it turns out, one of my favorite judges breathed his last breath about a week ago on August 20th. He's a real person. He lived in he's a somebody who lived during our lifetimes. You might be familiar with him. His name is Judge Frank Caprio. You might not have heard of him. Some of you might, but he oddly enough, as I said, it's providence that we read the Torah reading. He served on the bench in Providence, Rhode Island. He was so popular the way he did his court proceedings that it was televised, and the name of the show was Caught in Providence. And he had viewers watching him from all over the world, everywhere in the world. He was very popular. Now, who would watch court proceedings? Why? All I know is if there's a trial in Olam Haba, in the world to come, I sure hope that God appoints Judge Frank Caprio to hear it. You see, Judge Caprio may not have been Jewish, and he wasn't. But if ever there was a mensch on the bench, it was him. What a wonderful man he was. He was known for something that is far too lacking today, not just on the bench. He was known everywhere for his compassion. He was a judge filled with an amazing belief in people. He believed in people. Can you imagine? Can you imagine spending your career listening to the crimes that have been committed and yet maintaining a belief in the goodness of people, even of those who appear before him in court? I want you to know that I have something in common with Judge Caprio. No, I'm not saying that I'm as compassionate as he was, not even close. And no, I'm not saying that I have an unwavering belief in the goodness of people, because that isn't true either. So, what do I have in common with him? Well, there are times when I wear a robe in the pulpit, just like he wore on the bench. The reality is, there was a time when most clergy wore a robe based on the ones that the Kohanim wore in the temple times. If you have ever been to a graduation ceremony, graduates and the professors wear robes. And let's not forget that the varying number of stripes that one has on a sleeve, I don't have any, has can give you a clue as to how high the ladder they had climbed. We all have heard the expression that clothes makes the man. I know it should be clothes makes the person, but this was written long before political correctness raised its head. But clothes make the man. Excuse me for that. However, just putting on a robe, the uniform of certain roles, does not provide much of anything. Yet perception is reality. So when we see people wearing the military or police uniform, and we find that they bring out different emotions in us, like when somebody wears a robe. When I wore the uniform of the United States Army during and after during and after Vietnam, people would come up to me and spit at me. That's how, because the war was hated. The uniform represented what was wrong with this country to them. So they spit on me. Not today. I wore the uniform with pride, even when they did spit at me. Why my mentor at offer, why I did that? Because my mentor at Officers Candidate School, as I was learning to be an officer in the Army, guess who it was? It was none other than Captain Frank Caprio, not yet a judge. Same guy. Yes, this is the same man who became that amazing judge. He taught me that wearing a uniform of this country was an honor, and it came with special responsibilities that he always lived by and always exhibited in or out of uniform. He went on to teach the entire world that wearing judicial robes also comes with that same special responsibility and how to be a role model for all judges. The uniform that we wear isn't enough. It's not important. It is how we behave when we wear the uniform. That's what he taught. Jews also wear uniforms. We wear kippot, we wear talitot, we wear tefillin, we wear kittles, beards, payas, hats, long coats, wigs, and other things. The thing is, it is how we behave when we wear them. That's what's important, not that we wear them, but how we behave when we wear them. People who wear uniforms should do what needs to be done to help others understand that those who wear them are not trying to impress others or be better than others, but to inspire respect. That can only happen by how we live our lives. So, as we study this Torah reading, Shoftim, Judges, let me share a quote from Judge Caprio, a Catholic, an Italian, a proud Catholic, who had two brothers who behaved just like he did. So I want to talk a little bit of Judge Caprio, may he rest in peace. He's now in the divine court. But he said one time to somebody who asked him, "Why are you such a good judge? Why are you such a nice man?" And he said, "I don't wear a badge under my robe. I wear a heart under my robe." Judge Caprio gained his notoriety not because of his robe, of course not, but because of the heart that he had, the heart that he made sure that people could see in the way he handled those who came before him. They came to him at a time when the citizens had lost their faith in the courts. Judge Caprio tried to restore their faith, and even more importantly, to restore their faith in themselves. Some of them had no more respect for themselves. Those who stood before him were there because they had broken or been accused of breaking the law, but he still treated them with dignity, and he still tried to see the best in them. He always did. And if you don't believe me, go to YouTube and look for Caught in Providence, not court, caught. I'm not using a New England accent here. Like a prisoner is caught in Providence, and you'll watch him in action, and you will not believe what you see if you haven't ever seen him before. What a mensch on the bench he is. He once told a defendant who stood before him, "I think I should take into consideration whether somebody is sick and whether their mother died and whether they have kids who are starving." That's what he would say when somebody was being accused. This mensch on the bench would call on children to come up next to him and help pass judgment on their parents. And it's so cute when he did that. He would make high schoolers promise to attend college in return for dropping their tickets. He even worked out payment plans for people who were struggling financially. He even set up a fund named after his mother, the Philomena Fund. His mother's name was Philomena, to help pay the fines of those least able to pay. And where did this money come from? People all over the world would send in $50 or $100 to help cover the fines of those who couldn't pay and deserved help. We're getting closer to New Year now. Rosh Hashanah is around the block, and it is traditional to wear white robes on the high holy days. I hope these white robes remind all of us that it is not what we wear on the outside, but the importance of the heart that beats underneath the robe. Maybe this year we should all learn to wear our heart on our sleeve. Okay, maybe not on our sleeve, but I hope that this year we can learn to let our hearts shine through enough to see the good in others, to have more compassion, and to renew our faith in this world. I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom and an Am Yisrael Chai.